evening, everyone. I hope you all are excited to come here today. I'm Vaibhavi Pai, the head of developer relations at Lyzr AI. And on behalf of the entire team here, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you who have joined us today to celebrate the demo day of our shiny, brand new product, the Architect. So before we begin, I have a question for all of you. Where do you think you are in your AI journey, right? I understand that each of us here today have our own perception and experience with AI, but I want each of you to ask yourself, where do you feel like you relate, right? So do you think you're living under a rock, which you mostly are not because you're all here today? But there are multiple different levels of the spectrum that you could be at, right? So I understand that this could be really overwhelming, trying to see every single piece of news that's coming in with AI and feeling like, hey, am I feeling left behind? And you feel like a lot of the FOMO, right? So that's why we have a vision here at Lyzr, which is to make agent building accessible to every individual on this planet, right? And how do we do that? We do that in 3 ways, right? First is our product. So we have the product called the Agent Studio, which I'm not sure many of you have tried, but this product essentially makes agent building really accessible, right? So you have every single essentially the entire agent development lifecycle that's present on a single pane, which is from your agent building to your deployment, to your monitoring, to your eval, all of that in one single pane, right? So that is your Agent Studio. And the second way we make it accessible is via education, right? So we do a lot of the workshops and hackathons and sessions to make agent building accessible. And that is the second way in which we're trying to really solve this issue. And then the third is the product that we're here for today, which is the Architect, which takes this entire agent building experience to the next level, right? And let's look at why Architect is the product plus plus over our existing Agent Studio, right? So this is what the Architect looks like. And the reason it is product plus plus on top of the existing Agent Studio is because you can go from your prompt to an app in just a few minutes, right? So what happens in Architect is you just write one single line of prompt, and then it generates the entire plan for you, which is what are the agents that need to be in your app, and then it constructs the entire agent orchestration for you, and then it comes up with a front-end interface, and then you don't need to write any line of code, nothing, to get your entire agent orchestration up and running, right? So from prompt to production in just 5 minutes. Okay, it actually takes a little more than that, but you get the drift, right? In case you're wondering, okay, this is cool, but where do I even use this? Do I even need to build agents for myself? Think of any problem in your life, right? Like, what is that one task that you find really cumbersome or boring, or you're thinking, hey, what if I had an intern to solve this for me, right? So think of some task like that. And do you think you could get an AI agent here to do this for you? Instead of having maybe like an intern, you could think of having an AI agent come and do this for you, right? But in case you don't think that you have any problem that you want to solve right now, or you're not able to think of something that you want to come up with, we also have the AI consultant, right? So you can go up right on the app and then say, hey, this is the role that I'm at, and this is the problem that I'm facing. Can you please tell me what I could build? And the AI consultant on Architect actually tells you, hey, this is something that you could build with Architect, right? Of course, you can also build some really fun things with Architect. So think of anything from a meal planning app to a game recommender. This is something that I've personally built. You could also build a voice agent, right? You could build a voice agent saying, hey, can you talk like how Elon Musk would talk, right? So all of this and more is possible with Architect. So now it's your turn. What do you think you would build with Architect? Hey, you have a question? What kind of tools? Tools? Yeah, so see, this is just the introduction. There's going to be more in detail about Architect itself. There's going to be a demo and all of that. So let's go more in detail. This was just like, the tip of the iceberg to actually show you what Architect is going to be about. But we'll take all of your questions. It's going to be like a good amount of time for the Q&A, right? So hold off there. So yeah, I mean, does this give you a good sense of what Architect could be like? Yeah. Okay. So now let's go into the next section, which is a message from our CEO, right? So now that you understand what Architect is, let's understand why we built it. And for this, we have a message from our CEO. So I'll quickly play that.
Hello everyone, Siva here, founder and CEO of Lyzr. We are super happy to bring you Architect, the world's first agentic app builder. Architect helps you build AI that works for you. But before we explain what Architect is, I want to share what prompted us to build Architect. We've been building agents for the last 2 years, and we've been watching the evolution of agents and LLMs as these two technologies go hand in hand. And people in this industry, those of us at the bleeding edge of agentic AI, are sensing that something is shifting really fast underneath. We are moving into a world of alpha agents and beta humans. And I wrote a piece about it on LinkedIn. You can check it out. So what is alpha agents? Of late, with the advances like Claude Opus 4.6 and Codex 5.3, and the new agent architectures like OpenClaw showing us what is really possible, we see that the agents can now have a lot of agency and can become the nerve center of the processes. As agents take control of these processes, they will then assign tasks to humans, and this is actually happening already. So let me address the white elephant in the room then, the question that I'm constantly asked by business professionals. Will agents replace my job? Will agents replace all white-collar jobs? And here's the honest answer. Many tasks will absolutely be automated by agents. A lot of processes today are built by humans for humans to execute. And agents are increasingly modeled around human capabilities, so they can and will take over many of these processes. But the people who learn to build, supervise, and manage these agents will move up the value chain. They won't be replaced easily by agents. Today, you have the opportunity to learn the art of building agents, managing them and administering them, so that you're not replaced by them in the food chain. You actually leap above these agents and go to the top of the food chain. But agent building is a skill, and I'm not talking about the Microsoft Copilot style basic agents or the custom GPTs. I'm talking about agents that can do serious work, like negotiating contracts or evaluating employee performance, or underwriting an insurance policy. Today, the art of building agents is still logged in with a very small group of developers and automation enthusiasts who use frameworks like LangChain or platforms like Innate. But that doesn't serve the larger purpose, isn't it? That's still only a small fraction of workforce that knows how to build and manage them. We believe building and managing agents should be a skill that's as important as knowing how to write emails. This is going to be one of the most important skills you would need in the coming years. But building real agents is still fragmented and gated. If you look at someone who's building agents, they might probably brainstorm in ChatGPT, then stitch these workflows in N8N, then build a usable front end in Lovable. This is good, but it's too many tools, too much glue, and it keeps most people out. That is why we built Architect. Architect compresses these three experiences into one. If you're a non-technical user, you can simply describe the problem to the architect. And if you're a developer, you can do a lot more. You can actually provide much deeper specs, like the kind of agents and models and orchestration you want to use. Architect then builds a detailed plan, builds an intuitive multi-agent system, and creates a beautiful app for you to interact with the agent you built, not a boring chat UI. Which is why we call it the world's first agentic app builder. Architect truly demonstrates the art of agent building. It democratizes actually the art of agent building. And the best part is this: every agent you build with Architect is enterprise grade from day one with built-in security guardrails. Alright, let's get started. Let's see how Architect works.
So that was a very powerful message from our CEO. And you now see how the CEO Shiva's vision really trickles down to every single employee at Lyzr to make agent building really accessible and put it into the hands of every single person on this planet, right? So up next, let's try and understand what actually happens under the hood of Architect, right? Like now you understood why we built it. Now let's understand how Architect is actually doing all the magic that it's doing. Over to Jimmy, our CTO and head of engineering, to take you under the hood of Architect.
All right. I wish I had that Manhattan background, right? Should make that happen. All right. Okay. So I don't want to take too much time. I want to dive into the actual demo itself, and that's where I want to showcase this to all of y'all. But I thought it'll be good to just walk you through what's happening a little bit in behind the scenes. So for the last 1 year, we've been building the Lyzr platform itself, which gives you the capability to create agents, manage it, build it at scale, and all the different components that you would require to create an agentic application. Knowledge bases, tool integrations, memory, making sure you have all the traces, observability, all of those different aspects. What this gave us is the base to create Architect. We didn't have to build Architect from scratch. We were able to position Architect above this Lyzr platform. So now the Architect can actually leverage all of these different components to finally build the full stack agent application itself. So how it works is the very first step. You give it a simple prompt. You say exactly what you want, business requirements, what are you intending to use it for, or who do you want to be using that particular application. So we have an agent which is consuming all of this information, breaking it down, and coming up with a plan. This is exactly like how we were, as engineers, if we would talk to a product manager, figure out exactly what is needed, right? Then jot it all down, create your PRD, gives you all the full functional spec, gives you, in this case, because it's an agentic application, the actual agentic architecture itself. It could be as simple as a single agent, say with a knowledge base, or it could be a complex multi-agent architecture itself. It comes up with this outline, this plan. Then it's up to you. You can review it and then proceed to the next step itself, which is the creation. Now, importantly, before I step into this, one other thing, what we also heavily try to improve. So we have come building agentic applications using our platform. We know the pitfalls. We know what has worked. And this is what we've tried to bake into that initial planning part itself. We know where, for a particular type of application, what should the orchestration look like, what you shouldn't do. And we have baked all of that information. So that first part is very, very critical. Now, given this plan itself, now this is where the actual building starts. So it again starts with building all the individual agents, orchestrating it, connecting the different tools that will be available. I know somebody had asked about what tools are available, and we'll show you that as well. Adding knowledge bases, right? And then connecting all of them together. So now that we have the agentic layer underneath, we can then proceed to the actual, the UI itself. And this is not just a UI just as a presentation, like you have to take it or use it. It is stitched together with the agentic layer underneath. So you have, this is what we call the full stack end-to-end agentic application that we are building. So these are the different, and importantly, we also have, it doesn't work as seamlessly, right? Because the end result is not just a final UI itself. We need to make sure that it works. That is the UI being able to, the different call to actions that are there in the UI, is that working correctly? Is it able to invoke the different agents? The entire agentic, workflows that are being run behind the scenes, is that working correctly? So we have also a testing agent component also, which is verifying, making sure everything is okay, and then it's handing the final application to you. Yeah. So I don't want to, take more time. I want to dive into this quickly. So probably we'll move on to the next step.
Thanks, Jimmy. That was great. So I hope you all got a good sense of how the process in Architect works and how it is so very different from the other apps out there in the market, right, that you use for agent building. Now, just before we get into the actual meaty part of the evening, I have one last teaser to play, and then we'll get into the demo. Ready?
Ideas are everywhere,
Eureka!
but turning ideas into reality, that's where people get stuck. What if you had an expert by your side, someone who's deployed thousands of workflows, seen every mistake before you make it? Introducing Architect by Lyzr, where you don't just get another tool, you get a multi-agent system laid out before you build it, that you can actually understand and trust. It starts with a conversation. Tell Architect what you want to automate. Fast track it with one-shot mode, or be descriptive with guided mode where you are in full control. Choose the way you want. Now watch what happens. Architect thinks through your workflow with you. What tasks need automation? Which agents should handle what? And what tools do they need? Everything's laid out for you. Now connect your data sources, define your logic, set your parameters so that they're not just agents, they're your agents. And then it happens. Your workflow, automated. Your agents working together. Your agent is now a reality. Just one more click and your agents are live. Architect by Lyzr.
That's how you do it.
Okay, I promise that was the last teaser, and now we'll actually get into it. So I welcome upon stage Vidur and Shreyas, the brain behind Architect and the soul behind Architect. So they will take up the demo, show you a lot of use cases that can be built, and also do a live Q&A. So keep all your questions ready. They're going to take all of it.
Awesome. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for taking out the time on a Friday evening. We'll try to make the most of it in the next 30 or 40 so minutes. So, a quick introduction. We have the team here. I am Vidur. I lead the product here at Lyzr. And I'm joined by Suyash, who is one of the product managers here at Lyzr. And then we have the architect behind Architect, who has been working day and night for the last so many months. And we are able to pull off something like this. And then actually let's give a round of applause for all the Lyzr team that's present here who have been working relentlessly. Awesome. So we have got a good gist of what Lyzr is, what Architect is. And in the next 30 minutes, what we will try to do is build and showcase some actual use cases that we are playing around with since we have released Architect in the beta version. And the goal here is to understand the complete value addition end to end, right? How do we start from a pain point? How do we start from a problem statement? Who all can really use it? And how different personas can differently use Architect, right? That is the goal here. And honestly, we are just moving into our public launch. So the feedback and how different personas accept Architect is also super important for us, right? So we have a few use cases built here. We'll start with how we have the final application built, which is no longer really a wow factor. We have so many wonderful tools happening and being built out there. But the whole idea is that how this is powered by a complete agentic infrastructure in the backend, which can actually build these agentic workflows end to end, right? Okay, so we'll just get into this. What you're looking at is the LinkedIn post generator agent, right? Everyone hopefully posts on LinkedIn. Everyone is a power user of LinkedIn, Twitter, and social media. And this is a agent, or this is an agentic application in that sense, which we built using a single prompt, right? This is the final UI being built. Suyesh, if you could just go to the plan mode.
Yeah.
Right. So if you look at my input prompt, it was, okay, create a LinkedIn post generator, which can create text and image for LinkedIn, and it should have all these tools connected that I want, right? And based on how Jitin just shared, right, that how it operates as a software engineer working with product managers, it is coming up with a detailed plan that, okay, this is pretty simple use case. We are starting off with thinking who should be building this and what is the right agentic orchestration, right? The whole point of building a plan or a PRD like of a plan here is that, okay, we are building these agents for the last 12 months for these enterprises, right? And we have great engineers who can build this, we have solution architects, but we really need to productize the skill of agent building. We have to productize the skill of agent architecting. And that is where we are bringing this step of planning, right? We'll quickly skim through all the other apps, and then let's go deeper into one by one and how the architecture is being built. So this is like a simple chat assistant, which is based on a website URL, right? The input prompt can be as simple as, hey, okay, I own a small business and I want a chat agent for my website, which can sit on the left bottom side of it, which knows everything about the website. Can we have a simple agent, simple prompt like this, and can a single tool do the job end to end? So this is a live example of that, where we went from a problem statement. The agent is able to crawl the website end to end by itself, build a knowledge base, and connect it with the agent, connect the agent with a UI, which is now ready to deploy, right? And now it's about how does this really become production level and how is it really important. So Shreyas, if you want to go deep into the application layer, into how firstly this is secure, how is it different, and how does it really add the value?
All right, let's the nerds take over this. Starting with the infrastructure part, right? So what basically happens is that, like what Jimmy has discussed, like we essentially started with something called as Lyzr Agent Studio. So what happens in that is we have essentially built the infrastructure, for example, for image, for tooling, for voice, all the infrastructure is already built. Now what Architect does is that it takes all of that infrastructure and combines it into a soup and actually builds the whole application for you, just from natural language to your complete application. Now, if you, Suyash, can you take us to the agents part?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see over here, what essentially happened is that the moment the PRD generated a PRD saying that, hey, I want these agents to actually build my application. So what agent generator did is that it took that PRD and essentially created a chat agent, which if you open it, that directly opens on the Lyzr Studio platform.
But the whole point of this is to give more control to the developers, right?
Yes. Now, if you see, the moment it opened in the Lyzr Agent Studio, you see all the modules that are already available there, right? So you have knowledge base, you have data query, memory, voice agent. Everything is now configurable just by your studio, right? So you have a control plane, which is your studio, and then you also have a beautiful app that you can essentially control and play around with it using the studio itself. So that is how you do the optimization part, but essentially the infra is provided by the studio, and then this is what gets built as an end product. We can also look at some other examples. We can go with the voice one, okay? So can you start the voice? Can you speak something, Suyash?
Hello.
Hello. I can only speak in English. I'm here to help. How can I assist you today?
So essentially what you're seeing right now is we built the
Sure.
infrastructure for
Let's
voice,
dive
right?
in.
Can you stop
What would
it,
you like
please?
to know or explore?
All right. So, so this whole app was essentially built using the Architect, right? And likewise, we discussed. So we built the voice infrastructure also on the Studio platform. So it uses the same voice infrastructure to actually come up with this application. So not only that, now what you can actually do is, can you open the Studio again, please?
Yep.
Can you switch to voice agents? Yeah, just open that voice agent, the first one. So as you can see, the agent is actually created on Studio, right? What you can also do is that now the same agent can also be connected to your phone number. So what essentially it means is that when, can you go to the phone section, please?
Yeah.
Go back. Yeah, go to the phone numbers. Yeah, can you see there is a phone number already attached to it? So what basically this means is that whatever phone number, whatever the agent, the voice agent, it got created using Architect, now it's directly connected to your phone number. So now if I go ahead and call that number, I'm actually going to get a response from it. Yes, yes, yes. Hi. Hello. One second, let me just do that again. Hello.
Hello. Great to connect with you. How can I assist you today with Lyzr.ai or any questions you might have?
Can you tell me about Lyzr?
Absolutely. Lyzr.ai is a powerful enterprise AI platform that's designed to make it easy for businesses to build and deploy AI agents. It's got a no-code tool called the Agent Studio and also a developer SDK called the Agent API.
But so you see how simple it is to actually create a voice agent also, just using Architect?
But how does it really know about Lyzr, right?
So yes, that's a very interesting question. So what happens actually in the behind the back is, so can you go to the app again, please?
Yeah.
So if you see, can you scroll up on the left side? Yeah, just a bit down. Yeah, just go a bit up. Yes, stop there. All right. So what I prompted it is that, so I essentially told it to take Lyzr.ai and use that as a knowledge for answering questions, right? So the moment I put that prompt in, what it did is that it created a task list. If you see on the left side, the task list is that create a knowledge base, crawl Lyzr AI website, and then update the voices instant. So essentially what it did is that it scrolled, it actually crawled through the Lyzr AI website, it created a knowledge base, and then it attached the knowledge base essentially directly to the voice agent. So now your website can actually become your voice agent, and you can serve your customers like that.
Nice. Few other use cases that we can also
Yes.
discuss, right? And how much time did that take, the whole voice thing?
So in this application itself, like we took how much? Like probably like 4 or 5 minutes just to build a voice agent. It just built the whole entire voice agent in 5 minutes. How cool is that?
Yeah, definitely. Let's go to some other agents, right, Suesh? Okay, this is a stock sense. And okay, let's go through the input prompt, right? I need a stock analysis agent which goes through most of my relevant stocks in the last 24 hours and suggest me where should I spend and invest my next $100. It should send me an email based on the analysis. Okay. Before jumping on the solution, let's go across all the modules required if Architect was never there, right? If you have to build something like this, something like which can firstly analyze the stocks. So it requires some real-time connection with the web, which is analyzing the stocks and the latest information. Okay, then then the requirement is to do the analysis, send me an email. So we need a tool connection with the Gmail. And then the requirement is I need it every day at 8 a.m. So we need some sort of schedulers and triggers, which is doing all of that. So these are like, we're talking about almost 4 and 5 different components, right? How does it able to build all of them simultaneously is what maybe we can go deeper into, right?
Okay, so likewise, again, going back to the studio days. So essentially what used to happen is that everyone used to come on studio. For example, if I want to create a scheduler, I used to go to the scheduler section, add a scheduler. If I wanted to have a tool, I'll go to the tool section, create a tool there, and then attach it. And then if I want to select a model, I have to go to the agent section and then essentially select the model there and do all of that. So in this case, what happens is that the same configuration that actually as you did manually, right? So you have to go clicks some buttons and integrate that. The same thing is essentially done by our architect. Now all the modules, the configurations that was provided, that directly goes in the JSON, and it essentially builds this application also, integrated to the agents.
Awesome. Cool. So, okay, so what you're saying is that we have schedulers, which is a component.
Yes.
That is again configurable because we have the complete control. And then we have all the tool integrations. For example, I don't want it to come to my email. I want it to be on Slack or somewhere else. All of that is now configurable, even if I have the first version
Yes.
built here, right? Another point we can go deeper into is that you can build all these cool applications for your daily use, but where it really adds value is also at an enterprise side of things, right? If you're working with a lot of our BFSI customers, we have to build a lot of actual working applications as part of the involvement with them, that okay, this is the final product that will come out to be. The time to go from a problem statement that we actually receive from our customers to a final product which is in their cloud, which is in their design system, which is 100% in their control, the time required to go from this to this point is easily reduced, is what I'm trying to point out here, right? Because the first level of agent architecture is solved. The first UI or the first thinking that any product manager has to do in that involvement is pretty much solved. And now it's about iterating and bringing that finesse into the product is what we are talking about, right? What other use cases can we discuss, right? Okay, by the way, this is the LinkedIn generator agent, right? And text is all good. I can use ChatGPT for this.
Can you scroll down? You can also see the image. So yeah, so everything is built by our agents now. So if you go on, let's say if you go on some other platform where you can actually build applications, right? There are a lot of UI builders out there which you can use to build applications. One of the key challenges you face is that you'll have to provide API keys, you have to do integration. All that stuff is gone now. What you can do is just provide in plain natural language, and it can just integrate everything by itself. And not only that, if you have noticed the workflow section, right? It looks like one of the famous workflow apps, right? Which is like NA10. And if you see on the app section, it's similar to what other app builders are. So what we have done is we have combined both of them, right? So that essentially is the most important thing of architect. So it can do both, plus on cherry on top, you will get an UI.
Yeah, but from a security point of view, if I'm using my agents, like if I'm using a Lovable or a Replit, I'm always procuring my own API, OpenAI keys, and I'm literally prompting it. So I was going through the public apps of one of the similar agent builders, and people have literally posted that, okay, use this API key starting with SK hyphen, and anyone can literally extract it, use it, do whatever they want to do. Even if that is not the case, we're not even talking about secrets management here. Because all the apps are built on React and White, anyone can look at your API keys through frontend itself. How are we solving that problem here?
Okay, all right. So essentially, if you go on Lovable, right? Lovable uses White as its framework to build applications, and also there are a lot of other application builders. All of them use White. So what essentially we have done is that, because in White, what happens is it's a client-side application. So anything, for example, if you paste in an API key, it gets leaked. So now the biggest pain point what we have solved is that in terms of enterprise and security is that the application that gets built is built using Next.js. So Next.js is a batteries included front-end and back-end framework. So everything is protected now.
Yeah, assume there are many non-technical folks in the room.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, so that is what essentially what it means is that now your apps are more secure. You don't have to worry about putting in API keys while building your applications.
Okay. Sure.
So by default, so again, let's talk about the studio part of it, right? So essentially what we do is that whenever you put in your application, we store your file in an protected folder. Let's say, so right now we use S3. So we use your own key. For example, whatever key when you logged in, so that time the token is generated, that same key is used with a secret. So even we don't know how to decode that secret and get the files actually. Only you have access to it. So, okay, all right. So coming to that part, security, right? So agents can misbehave. A lot of agents, if you say something, they might do something else. For example, if you have built a chatbot, if someone says that go hack NASA to it, that's probably not good, right? So essentially what we have is something called as guardrails, right? So what guardrails does is that, can you go back to studio again? Yeah. Just go to any agent. Yeah. Okay. Go to the responsible AI.
Yeah, this is
Just open click the responsible AI. So now you can see over here. If you go to the studio, there is something called as responsible AI. So essentially, it's a policy. Now, what policy means? Policies are nothing but rules for agents to follow, right? So if you say, for example, you don't have to speak about certain topics. You have to stick to a certain topic. It is going to stick to that topic. So that is what Lyzr specializes in also. So essentially, the whole point of building the infrastructure was our agents, whatever are built in a responsible AI fashion, right? So it has guardrails, it has policies. So all that management is possible just via the studio itself.
But when you talk about agents misbehaving, it's not just about the guardrails, right? It's about not adhering the instructions that it is supposed to in the right order, right? How do we really test that at scale before we have something in production?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So we have something called as agent simulation engine. So what it does is that, for example, let's say you have built the app, right? Now you can't go and put in test cases. For example, I want to hack NASA is one. So it can be variety of prompts, right? So as a user, I don't want to sit and add test cases and actually make it run and improve it, right? So what we have done is we have something called as agent simulation engine. What it does is that it basically provides a simulated environment for an agent. For example, I have created an agent using Architect. What you can do is you can go to the simulation part, and the moment you run the simulation, what it does is that it understands the prompt that Architect has written and automatically creates test cases. It creates tool responses, everything it is done automated. And then once it does that, based on whatever tests it ran, it essentially also improves the agent itself. So it's a complete cycle that it essentially concludes in that simulation engine.
Okay, interesting. Let's go back to the architect side of things, right? What we are essentially solving is the build time and the accuracy of the first iteration that is being built. But everyone might not want to reinvent the wheel every time, right? If we have so much already that we have built, how is that knowledge being productized, right? How do we ensure that not everyone builds everything from zero?
Right. So as Lyzr, we work with a lot of enterprises. Okay, we build a lot of applications for a lot of enterprises around different variety of verticals, right? So what we did is that we have a lot of use cases that were built. So essentially, we took all of those use cases and gave it to Architect. Now, what Architect does is that based on knowledge what it acquired across these verticals, and while we were perfecting all our vertical agents, right, it takes all of that information and essentially uses that while building app. So now it's not just some agent trying to build the application for the first time, right? It is trying to build an application from the knowledge it acquired from what we deployed for enterprise applications.
Right. And like in my opinion, agents are more about the technical aspect of it and plus the domain expertise, right? So anyone, let's say if there's a lawyer in this room and they're building something on Architect, they can, of course, they can add their domain expertise. They can publish that into the marketplace, and now everyone can consume that level of expertise. If someone in an enterprise X wants to build something for CFO, they have a very good starting point right now, rather than going everything from scratch. So that really adds into our mission of democratizing agent building as the first thing, and also ensuring that we really raise the bar when it comes to consuming agents and the quality of agents that are being built, right? So
Do you
these
want
were
to show the marketplace?
yeah, we could go about it. By the way, we are planning the public launch on Monday. So anyone who signs up will get a certain number of credits. They can play around. We are all very much reachable in terms of feedback, in terms of how you would like to use Architect and how it does or does not solve your problems, right? So we are more than happy to listen that. But I think it's a good time to get more perspectives. We can get into that Q&A zone, understand
Yes,
what all people
let's get
think.
some questions.
How, yeah. Awesome, yes, please. Yeah, we'll give you a mic.
Hello. Yeah. So while you started, you mentioned that AI could make mistakes. So we have a process where you could basically iterate them, or you could refine the app basically. But I didn't see that it's mentioned that it's in anywhere that the plan can be iterative. It felt like a waterfall model where the whole process goes. You go with plan, then you have agents. In agents, you can configure. That's a good thing.
Awesome.
But then comes the plan. So the plan, is that configurable or?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. So I would have two points related to that. One is that when you okay, let's go to the home page. Let's try any of the use cases from scratch using the guided mode. The whole point why we have this guided mode is because what we realized, right, like if you have to build anything with AI, it's all about iterations. It never gets you in the first go, right? And that is why we went and built this guided mode. Just try any of the pre-written prompts, Suyesh, right? Now what guided mode does is that, okay, it's an agent sitting behind which understands the use case, which has context of what can be built on Lyzr, and it will ask to and fro questions with you that, okay, if it's about a product recommendation agent that we are trying to build here, what are you expecting it to really solve, right? Who will be interacting to it? What information should the agent consider when you are making these recommendations? So when it's even building the first layer of the PRD, when even the first PRD that is being built is lot more relevant to what you were assuming in your mind, rather than going to ChatGPT and trying out random stuff, right? So I think this is one attempt towards solving that problem. And the second attempt is that PRD itself is iteratable, if that's a word. You can iterate the PRD
There's
itself,
also
right?
an edit button, by the way. You can just click on the edit button and you can edit the PRD directly. You don't you can review the PRD and you can just tap on edit and you can write the PRD yourself
Let's
if
just
you want
generate
to
the
do
PRD.
that. Click on the generate.
Yeah, so basically the PRD itself can be iterated. You can have a to and fro conversation before you are even building the product. That is one thing. And then you can always come back to the PRD that, hey, I've spent 20 minutes with you. This is not what I intended to build. I want to rebuild, I want to reconfigure the PRD and build it from scratch again. So yeah, I think that would pretty much solve the problems.
That definitely answers my question. And my second question goes, uh, when you were demonstrating that part where you mentioned that the API keys would be automatically taken, you don't have to put on the API keys like we have in earlier platforms. So that comes the question that how, if, for example, yes, you're securing the files, you're generating a token, you answer to serve. So that works. But there would be some, for example, I'm using an LinkedIn API key or OpenAI API key. So your AI is going to go and pick that API key, right?
Yes.
And behind the scenes, going technically, there would be an LLM that is standing that, and we are giving him or it the API key. So is that secure enough?
Yes. So essentially what happens is whenever you put in an API key, right? So there are two things, okay? One is we have something called as ENVs, correct? So what happens is whenever a agent wants to get an API key from you, it pops up a ENV window, right? So if can you go to the knowledge base app we built? Or you can go to the voice agent. Just go to the voice agent. Go to the app section, please. Can you scroll up a bit? A bit more. Yes, stop. All right. So can you see the small this thing input box? So essentially, what it does is that so anytime it wants to take an API key, right? You put your API keys there, so the LLM doesn't receive it. So it goes directly and gets pasted in your. So we use Firecracker micro VMs. So there is a place wherein it gets saved as an env, and that gets mapped when it is running. So the LLM doesn't receive the API key.
Okay, sorry, I confused myself because you mentioned that it's automatically taking the API keys. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Congrats. Wish you luck for your product launch. Thank you.
Yeah, just to add to that point, the need for API keys itself is a lot lower in this tool because we are model agnostic. All the models are present in the studio itself. The tool integrations are mostly available in the studio itself. So you don't want to bring your API keys from Anthropic or OpenAI in the first place. If that was
in case if you have a custom tool, you can do that. Is what I answered for you.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Hi team, wonderful demo. Thank you, congratulations. I have a few questions. You showed us a demo. Am I audible?
Yes.
You showed us a demo of like a bunch of single agents, right? Single agent use cases. Do you have one multi-agent, and how do I like structure the layout of the agents? Like, can I set one above others and set them in a star pattern or a mesh?
Can you go to the LinkedIn one? Yeah. I think that was.
No, I think LinkedIn is single agent.
No, okay. I think it was. Yeah, go to the stocks one probably. Yes. So this is a manager style orchestration. What happens is there are sub agents, and then there's a manager which essentially coordinates all the sub agents and gets the task done by it. Now, answering your questions, can you edit it by yourself? Correct? Is that what you are asking?
Yes. Can I modify it, edit it, or recursively self-improve ideally?
So one way to do that is essentially there's a chat window. You can tell it, and it will reorganize and it will do stuff. Now, if you want to still do it via manually, right? You want to do it by hand, then you can essentially go again to the Agent Studio. There is a manager style orchestration section wherein you can essentially see what agents are built and you can modify that.
Yeah. And just to add to that point, this is the first iteration that the PRD built itself, right? Now, in a lot of real world scenarios, the problems would be that, hey, I don't want the manager agent to call the market research. I want to call the market research through a button on the UI. I don't want the agents itself to call it. That can be one scenario, and then like there can be, human in the loop can be one scenario, and then there can be other scenarios where you want a parallel orchestration, you want them to go into a sequence. So either you can, of course, conversationally prompt that, hey, I don't want this, I want the other thing. You can do that in the application layer itself, and then you have the complete control to do that manually as part of the orchestrations and the workflows which are in Studio. Yes.
Okay. Who owns inference? Who has the GPU? Are you running inference or what?
So we are basically model agnostic. Okay. So what it essentially means is that you can bring in your own models, or you can get the models which are already specified on our studio. So it comes from a variety of vendors. We use Google Vertex, we use Amazon Bedrock. We also use vendors directly, the providers directly. For example, Anthropic provides us with cloud models. OpenAI provides it with OpenAI models. So essentially what it means is that the platform is there with different variety of models. You can choose between them.
Okay, what about observability and costs?
Awesome. So we also have something called as traceability. Can you open traces?
Thanks.
Can you open any trace? Oh, okay. So answering your observability question, so we have something called as traces. Now what you can do is any app or any agent that runs, you have complete trace of everything that it did. So that is one. What is the second question?
Cost. I mean, in the sense that...
So cost is also displayed in the same section. You can essentially look there.
Okay, cool.
Right, top. Yeah, top right.
How do I integrate custom tools? Let's say I'm building an MCP server.
Got it. Can you go to the tool section? Can you add a custom tool? So there are two options. One is ACI tools. Then there is also, click on ACI tool, please. So can you select an example? So one is you have your direct integration. So you can connect to providers directly. Can you go back? Click on custom tool. And then we have an option wherein you can essentially I hope you know almost all of APIs are open API compatible, right? So all of them can be integrated over here. Headers can be put, default query parameters, everything.
Local, does it support local inference?
Local in, oh, awesome. Okay, so we also have something, so soon we are also going to come up with something called as, so Lyzr SDK. What it does is that it will provide you an option, a layer for your local tools to get executed using our reasoning engine.
Okay, I think that's it. If I have any more, I'll take them after. Yeah,
Sure.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the question was that we told about being model agnostic. Is that all open source or is that all SaaS based, right? Yeah, that's what he asked. So
yeah, so essentially we are mixture of both currently, and if you have your own fine-tuned private model, you can also connect that. So if you see, we have variety of providers. So if you go to the Perplexity, so sorry, Grok. So there are Llama models which are open source. There is GPT, OSS, a lot of open source models also.
yes. Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, hi. Thanks for the good demo. Am I audible?
Sorry, you'll be next. Yeah, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're
Yeah, so thanks for the good demo. So I have a question regarding the security layering, how the data that actually we are trying to feed it through the agent, how they are taking care of good in terms of data, how they are not like revealing it, how like data it is taking, it should not be public, or sorry, it should not be private data, or it should be public data, how it is distinguished doing these kind of parameter.
Okay, can you go to the responsible AI section, please? Okay, so we have something called as PII. So what PII means is that personally identifiable information. So we have a redaction system. What it does is that if you put something, for example, let's say credit card, or let's say your SSN number, it can be anything, right? Your Aadhaar, your social security. So essentially anything you put over here, the infrastructure is going to manage secrets for you. It will map it while it is coming back with, and once it is going inside the LLM call, it gets converted into a dummy data.
Yes. Sure.
Thank you. So we are trying to generate some agent for some personal work, and in between something got failed. It might can happen, right? Ki something got failed. So how we are generating those logs, and from where we can see those logs information?
Again, if we go to the traces section, right? So all the logs are available over here. Any failure is directly available over here, and also we are going to have something called as agent improvement engine. So what it does is that whatever live agents that are running out in the wild, so all those gets tracked, and based on a learning policy, it automatically improves your agent based on whatever it is doing in the wild.
Also, it should have some memory space, right? So
yes.
How you are dealing with that memory?
So in terms of memory, like, are you talking about agent learning in terms of that?
That also, and the logs also, like it should not have the data 10 years older or something like that. So how you are maintaining that?
So likewise I said, for example, in terms of logs, right, the pure logs that goes through in and out of the agent, that are all stored privately, securely, completely encrypted. That is what you can see over here. That answers your observability part, right, where you can see what failed, correct? Now what was your second question?
In terms of memory,
right, in terms of memory, what happens is that we have different, so the whole infrastructure was built in a very modular fashion. So we have a memory called a structured collector, right? So what it does is that whenever any new information comes, right, so it automatically stored important learnings from it in the structured collector.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And one last thing I wanted to ask, like, let's suppose if we wanted to integrate this agent, some own agent with some third-party application, is it possible to do it via this?
Yes. Can you go to the agent section? open any agent. So we have essentially built a lot of agents. Yeah, just open that. Go. Can you click on the agent API top? Go to the inference section. Yeah, we'll rotate the API key, so don't worry about that.
Got it.
So essentially, this is where you get your API call. So you can just copy this and attach it to any of the third-party integration.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you, and all the best for your release.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think she had a question.
For a query, we need multiple sub-agents, right?
Yes.
And for that, probably you would have some stock of already built, like pre-built sub-agents.
Yes.
Now, what if some user comes up with a query that already built
Yes.
sub-agent is not available?
Not available.
Yeah.
Yeah, it creates it.
Yeah. So.
It creates
Yeah.
during runtime.
The whole thing what got created here was during runtime.
Like those sub-agents are also getting
Yes.
created during.
Yes. You do one thing. Just go on the app and try it out. You will be able to see that in action.
These are
so
not
these all
pre-built.
agents are getting generated on the fly. These are not based on learnings.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes,
So
please.
I mean, the possibility is on the both sides. For example, if you build, let's say, a document review agent, that we have already solved a use case for, right? So it will use that as a sub agent when it is required from the template. But for example, this use case, it didn't have certain sub agents, so it built it dynamically.
Okay, and to reduce the latency, if some agent is already pre-built, then you are using that already built.
Correct.
If it is not there, then you are building in the real time.
Yes.
Yeah. All these 4 scenarios were built real time. They did not consume the existing agents, but that can also be. That is of course doable. Is what I'm trying to.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Sure. I think.
Excuse me. Yeah, so we saw a lot of new applications getting created. Do you have anything for existing applications? Like if I have a legacy, suppose if I have a legacy application, I want a technology upgrade. Do you have anything for that?
Right now we don't have something like that because it builds new things, right? Because it's based on what what infrastructure it actually provides, because it can only work on Next.js app currently. But we have something soon in the future that we will have. So we will have an architect on your desktop itself. So it can look into other files and do stuff and whatever you said, right? Migrating a legacy code base into a newer language. That is also possible. I mean, that will be possible in future, but right now it's not.
Okay, one more question. So right now, if I want to go and get the application, like all the files, whatever it created, I cannot do it.
Can you go to the app section? Yeah, just click on the GitHub button. There you go. You have your complete apps code accessible to you. So you can just download that, clone it, and start building on top of it also.
Okay, so if I make any changes from my side, it can identify the changes. What?
Yes,
done?
yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Yes.
Good evening. I have one query actually.
Yes, you can edit.
Just a second. He's already. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah, we.
Yes. So answering the first question, can I build it outside? Likewise, here. Okay. So likewise, he also asked, right, that how can I actually make modifications outside? So that is possible. So if you just go to the same repository, make changes, the architect can pick up those changes from there. So you can modify the UI. That is one. Second thing is that there is a chat window. Likewise, the application itself has on the left bottom side. So you can tell whatever improvements you want to do, and architect will do it based on whatever input you have given. Okay. So essentially, right now we support only web applications. We don't support Android or iOS applications.
Which can be deployed.
Yes. Coming to the deployment part, you can actually click on the deploy section and you can deploy the app, and then you can share it across. So, I mean, you can imagine how simple is that, right? You can start a business wherein you can just go to a business and tell, hey, I can build a chatbot for you. And you can just go to architect, copy the link of that user, and then start your own business. You can start selling your chatbots to other people.
Yes. Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. Yesterday I was trying your agent that using studio.lyzr.ai. In that website, I was creating one agent for the chat window, and that agent I was integrated in my Flutter application. So it is actually working perfectly.
Okay.
As per the instruction, I was implemented that. But I noticed it in the whatever integrating part, right? So I was initially facing that we have to missing some parameters. So here the session ID, what was that? It is representing the session ID.
Okay. So answering the session ID question, right? For example, if you have, let's say, 10 users, correct? Each of them will have their own memory. For your 10 users can't have the same memory, right?
Yes.
So for every user, you will create a new session ID from yourself, from your application itself.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Thank you,
then it will have history of that, personal history of that particular person.
Yes, please.
Going to consume. Hi, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are
So, it is going to consume too many tokens, right? So I want to understand that architect is solving the token optimization with the LLMs, or it is like the same way we are prompting the LLM on ChatGPT or any cursor or some like that. Is there any benefit we are getting out of this other than the?
So let's talk about two scenarios. Okay, one is building part and one is the running part, operational part, right? So coming to the building part, right? So okay, I'll reveal you a secret that in the architect's system prompt, we have written that to reduce the task list as much as possible. So essentially there it cuts certain this thing. And in terms of inference itself, right? So when you actually deploy, for example, for an application outside, what you can do is you can run the simulation engine and see what are the costs coming. And then based on that, you can tell the simulation engine that, hey, I want to reduce costs. So automatically it will update the system prompt in a way that it tries to reduce the cost as less as possible. Okay. So we take care of agent scaling. We take care of everything related to agents. So any operational thing is already taken care by. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to pay for the credits.
Yes, please.
So, okay, we can go to the tool section. So first thing is that you have variety of tools, right? We already have given a lot of tools that are directly available for you to connect. So which come out of the box. That is one. Now coming to the ease of use, right? So let's say, for example, you use Codex, okay, or let's say you want to use Cloud Code, any of the platform, you can build it, correct? Now the problem, what happens is that, let's say you just want to change a prompt you have to rewrite the code, push the application. But the control plane of everything you want to do is already there on the studio. So you just have to go to studio, and if you, let's say for example, you built a chatbot, correct? Tomorrow you have more company information. For example, you launched a new product. Your chat agent won't know that. So what you have to do, you have to go back, change the code, replace the RAG ID, etc. Right? So in this case, you can just go on platform and just update that knowledge base, right? That's all. That's simple.
Sure.
Who's this? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what do you do? Okay, so for you, for someone like you have the infrastructure platform. You, of course, have the UI if you want to use it or not. And you have that speed if your product manager asks you to build something quickly and demonstrate. Plus, you are getting the solution of agent architecting also within, along with saving the time. And if there is someone who is completely a business user and they want to explore something for their daily life or maybe jump into the agent architecture itself, it equally solves the job end to end. It has a lot of modules which are solving the purpose differently for different people, and we don't want to restrict to a very specific niche, to be very honest, right? Because studio itself, like architect is come up now. Lyzr Studio had like 40% of product managers. It had 50% developers using it. It had HRs using it, and we want to serve them. That is the whole idea.
In simple words, it's for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so solution architecting point of view is what we see as the fastest, which is being solved, because there are a list of scenarios that, I mean, all these enterprises now have a budget that they want to exploit and use for agentic transformations, and architect, through its consultant mode or all those things as well, it will help you prioritize the right things, that okay, this is the most mission critical for you, and this is how you can actually build it. It will give you a good enough starting point to actually implement it. That's from the enterprise side of things where we are seeing the adoption. And then we have developers, PMs who are building it for their own purpose and their own use cases within companies. Because, yeah, as we mentioned, the SaaS platform is available. You can use it, deploy it. So it definitely gives a very good starting point right away, if that is what you're asking, right? So internally also, when we are serving our customers, we have our rapid prototyping team, which is delivering the prototype in, let's say, 7 days. That time has been cut short to 48 hours, right? That is the biggest value addition we are looking at right away, and then we are working on to make it production level, going ahead, yeah.
Okay, so we'll take one last question, and then we'll wrap up the Q&A. And there would also be like a one-on-one demo outside. So you could take all your questions outside with the rest of our engineers. So one last question.
We have a few hands raised.
Okay, so
Hi, hello. I'm from cybersecurity background, so I have some question around this.
Yeah. Yeah,
yes. So this platform, do you have DLP, those type of thing inbuilt natively?
Are you talking about DLQ?
DLP, data loss protection, or anything.
Yes,
this type
yes,
of sort.
yes. So in terms of data loss protection, right? So that again comes from our infra side of things, right? So we
take care of that.
What?
You take care of that.
Yes. We completely take care of that on the infra
Plus,
side.
security operations center, can they integrate you as like if any threat comes, can I see what is going on, or active attack is like
Yes, using the trace module, right? You can see all of that.
No, not trace only.
Build
Like
agents
say
for
active attack using valid user doing something funky thing, or maybe deleting my files and all. Can
Yes,
I
build agents, build use cases using.
Can I get threat detection of those things?
Yes, I mean
How?
that is what using traces you can get.
Only
you can set
traces?
up. I mean, so
Alerts
right
and-
now we don't have it. The alerts you will have to look into the traces and do it. But you in the near future we will have alerts wherein you can set up alerts based on the logs what it is seeing. It automatically the improvement engine what we talked about, right? So it will automatically send you alerts about any fishy activity that is going around.
Okay, you take care. Like, can you allow like third party like Palo Alto, CrowdStrike, those type of guy to install agent in your infrastructure?
Yes.
I want to monitor like everything, all the stacks from my product.
Yes,
like
yes,
say
yes.
CrowdStrike, Falcon engine I'm using.
Yes, you can.
I can install
So
them?
the whole point, the reason why we built Studio itself was to have a very modular system. So third-party integrations and modules can be integrated very easily across.
Security is taken
yes,
care of.
yes.
Okay.
All right, so that would be the end of the demo and the Q&A. Thank you so much, Shreyas, Vidur, and Suyash for showcasing the demo so extensively and also for patiently answering all of the Q&A. I'm sure there are a lot more questions in the audience, and I'm sorry for having cut you off. But we will definitely take all the questions. There are a lot of our engineers waiting outside. You can do a one-on-one demo. You can get an own agent built for yourself and take it back home with you, right? So we have kiosks outside. Please go and get agents built for yourself on Architect. So that brings us to the end of this demo. And I'd like to take a moment to thank all of the folks behind this event today. So I'd like to thank Hardika and the entire team at WeWork for making this happen. And I'd also like to thank Ankita and Faraz from the Lyzr team and also the entire extended support of the Lyzr team. Every small detail actually matters to make this event come to success. So thank you so much, folks. And of course, the audience, all of you for showing up today despite the traffic and work schedules. So thank you so much for making it, asking all your questions. This really, really helps us make our product better. And you guys are the chosen few to have come here for the public preview before the launch. So thank you so much for making it. There might be some bugs in the product, so please bear with it. Use it, give us your feedback, and let's make Architect the best product that we're launching from India. Thank you so much. We'll do one picture with everybody,
Okay.
so just hang on.
I'm bad at this, Webby. Just help us out. Yeah.
We are just nerds trying to figure out. Take a good photo.
Too much pressure. Yeah.
You are.
Yeah, take a landscape and also. It's only us, yeah. थोड़ा ऊपर कर थोड़ा. Yeah. Awkward. Harry. Yeah, just take landscape. No? Yes. Woo! We're done, right? Thanks for joining, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, folks. So we have dinner being served outside, so please help yourselves. And also, there is going to be special merch and some swag from the Lyzr team if you actually participate with us in some photo ops near the photo booth at the entrance. So please do come by and share and tag us on LinkedIn. We are at Lyzr AI and #architect. Please do it. Thank you so much once again, and hope to see you come and build a lot with Architect. Thank you once again.
How was the demo?
Okay, so since we come from, like, we are hardware engineers, so it was like really new for us. We do use AI in our day-to-day work, but then getting to know in so much of depth and then being able to create AI using just a simple prompt, that was really new for me at least. So yeah, it was really interactive and really nice.
Nice. What is one agent that you might build after this?
I will give an example. The thing is, a week ago, I had to make a Valentine's Week app for my boyfriend. And I had a lot of problem deploying it. So I might just make a new one with Architect and give a gift to him again.
Demo was amazingly whatever problem we face in the while like building any of the things that we go for, especially in the field of agentic AI, most of them are solved. Especially taking care of that specific AI problem that is like the key, the API key problem that is solved. That is literally was good. And coming up to credits, I'm very, very excited to know how much is the price for that, so that we can just go on and start off and just sell things to the clients, to be honest.
The demo was really good, and I wish all the best to the team.
Harsh, listen, thank you so much for having. I didn't realize you were like such a big celebrity.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Good to see that you're here promoting us. I wanted to know, I mean, obviously we did a demo.
Yeah.
What is your understanding of architect?
So I think I've already heard about Lyzr before, and I was like super excited to know what is being built here in India, specifically for enterprises, right? So I've seen so many people building agents. So I've also taught people how to use N10 or tools like these to build those agents across my handles. But I think something more production ready, something more enterprise ready is what everyone has been looking for quite some time. And I think the demo that we saw gave us quite a good understanding of how enterprise use cases can be built across over architect. And also I think there were so many different features, like they were very well put in. For example, there's guided mode and there's one shot.
Right.
Whether I want to customize the app as per me, there's some instructions that the prompt is not making it clear, so I can customize it as per me. I think that's very thoughtful.
Right.
Along with that, I think with the kind of time it takes, the turnaround time of building an application is also something that's super cool. I've tried multiple tools before because I'm into this industry, so I keep on trying what's happening here and there. I think the turnaround time was also very cool.
Nice.
But yeah, I would love to try it myself. I would definitely go home and try it, and would love to share some feedback.
I was just going to ask you, since you already decided to try, are there some use cases that you're thinking? Because I'm sure you built so many of these on NA10 and
So I think
text builder, right?
I think there's so many use cases. Me being a content person, and I'm a software engineer myself and a content creator, right? So there's so many use cases that I can think of for content. So recently I even built an N10 agent for summarizing content from one platform and then publishing it across other platforms. Right? I've built that. Not very satisfied with it. Maybe I'll try the same prompt over architect and see how that looks like. For example, you give a link to your YouTube video, and that YouTube video can be converted to different formats. Let's say a LinkedIn post or a Twitter post or let's say a Reddit post, and that's how the content can be democratized from one content piece to multiple content pieces across platforms.
Absolutely.
So let's see how this works.
Yeah, just one small suggestion is maybe you connect with Buffer and then that sends it out versus getting APIs for LinkedIn and
I'll just figure out this, not just one, but I think this helping me manage my time that you mentioned, right? So how can I build something that can help me scout out what are the mails that are important from my email, right? So I can get that. There's so many emails that I get every day. What's something that's important for me and that's always there on my timeline. So I think a better to-do list that is customized as per me is something that I would like to try out.
That's a great one. Actually, you can also, since you can connect to Gmail, you can also be like create the content, create the email, and keep it in drafts. And then you can review and then take. But there are tools that do that. But I think the cool thing is you should be able to pick an automation and then
so I've tried these use cases already on other. I think it would give me a better perspective of how this is different from what the tools already available.
Awesome. Cool, man. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, thank you.
I think in terms of reaction and in terms of how well they asked questions, it was great. A lot of people asked really interesting questions. And the best part, I think we already had answers for all of this. That is the most proud thing that we as a team at Lyzr, we have built the infra, and also everyone, like for Vidu, Rashwan, Abhishek, everyone has built and worked a lot of components that is come to alive right now, and we are able to help people and build their applications.
Okay, I think one of the questions that came out there a lot was how safe is architect? How safe is architect?
In terms of what?
In terms of your data, in terms of our data, in terms of like there were people asking what happens when you put our API keys there, how safe it is.
So when we started Architect, right? So even before we started building Architect, we built the studio itself. Like I keep stressing on that point, that when we built the studio layer itself, essentially the whole point of studio was to ensure it is enterprise ready. And when we are talking about enterprise ready, the security, the hallucination, the data protection, the data so all of that has to be taken care of. So all that problems we have already tackled for a lot of enterprises, and we are essentially using the same practices what we built to architect also to build more applications.
Okay, I think one last question for you is, you have been building architect from 2 years now. How do you feel it once now you see that it's live? How do you feel?
I mean, I feel really excited that I want people to use it and start building applications and try to spread the applications more. It's always good when it always feels good when someone uses the things that you built.
Lovely. Thank you so much. That was Shreyas, and Architect will be live from this Monday. So please check out Architect and let us know how you feel.